3, 2, 1.
My name is Asar, and this is Man Up TV.
What's up? It's your boy, it's your man, it's your dude, Haroldinho, and welcome to the second episode of Man Up TV. Now, in spirit of Valentine's Day, it was only right that we did an episode on relationships, more specifically, black love, a topic that's seldomly talked about, and even fewer of us have a clear definition of what that actually means. Now, if you've been paying attention to the mass media, I don't know, the last 3, 4, 5 years, you'll notice that our only points of reference for black love are shows like Flavor of Love, I Love New York, Real Chance at Love, or Love and Hip Hop. And despite the fact that all of these shows have love in the title of the show, none of them are good examples for black folks in terms of how to have a successful relationship, how to meet the needs of your significant other, how to meet your own needs when going into a relationship. None of these really truly address what we need to move forward as a people. And I don't know if you've noticed, but you can't talk black men without talking black women. And vice versa, you can't talk black women without talking black men. We need each other in order to heal and to move forward as a people. And one of the most core principles of that is how do we relate to each other. Now, with that said, let me send it to Brother Amir and to Ranisha, our special guest for this episode, to see what you guys think about black love, what it means to be in love, what your needs are, how are your needs being met, or if they're not, and also some solutions on how do we come together as a people, both men and women, so we can heal and move forward as black people. Check this out.
What's up, y'all? This is Brother Amir from Man Up TV, and so we want to talk about relationships. So I went out and I, talked to the fellas.
And this is Ranisha with Man Up TV as well. So we can't talk about black relationships without having both perspectives. So I went out and talked to the females about black love as well.
And this is what we found.
Check it out.
What's up, y'all? This is Brother Amir, Man Up TV. We here at Lake Merritt. I'm sitting here with my brother Benjamin. How you doing, bruh?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. And so I want to ask you just a few questions about this relationships within, our black community. Is that cool?
That's what's up. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I got like 2 or 3 questions I want to ask, and the first one is, in the context of relationships, what does black love mean to you?
Black love, I think, is kind of like the birth of the world. I mean, we all know that the first civilization was in Africa, and when I think of black love, I mean, my mother's only half black, but in America, you gotta drop in you, might as well. So everything all I know is black love, because I'm black and all I am is love. So
I mean, black love is love is love. It don't matter what color it is. I feel like honestly when people say black love, it's because they feel like it's not enough black couples.
Right.
So that's where.
Do you feel that's true?
I mean, to an extent. I mean, it's all relative to the demographic and the people you expose to. I mean, I know a lot of happy black couples, successful couples, and then I know some not so happy couples, and then I do know a lot of single black people as well. So it's like I see it all the way across the board. So it's like I'm not so much biased on that opinion that it's not.
To me, black love means just caring for each other, being down for one another, supporting each other through thick and thin. Communication, is the key.
The partnership between 2 African American individuals, or just the showing each other like love for one another, being there, all that great stuff like that.
Just like loyalty, respect, trust, and just togetherness, building that family bond. Most black people in general, they don't have both parents, so just trying to bring that back as black people, that it does still exist.
That family unit.
Yeah, that we can get married and have children, as well.
Okay.
Black love is between the black woman and the black man, and amongst your brothers too. And your sisters, you ain't necessarily got to be in a relationship with that person as far as that way in a relationship though. But it's showing love amongst black folks. That's black love to me.
Black love mean to me is basically stability, honesty, faithfulness, and all around laughter. Have fun with it. I guess.
Okay.
I would say endurance, number one, patience, strength, unity, because those are elements that's going to, keep black love going. Another one I would say is reciprocity, communication. These things, that's black love. That's what you see, like, even though it's looking a little extinct over time, black love, real black love, if you look at where it's at, you'll see them things. So yeah.
I feel like it's so rare about black love because we rarely see it in this community, in this society, especially in the ghettos of San Francisco, in the Bay Area. Nobody wants to fall in love because of the stigmas that are placed on black men and black women. Would you like me to elaborate? Such as with black men, they don't want relationships, they all have kids, they're all into drugs. If you are with them, you're not their only one. With black women, they're loud, they want more than what you can offer. So that I've been told from asking black men on my journey and through a life. With my Conscious Queens, I've asked men to identify their issues they have with black women, and it's all been stigmatized of how they want too much from black men and so forth.
It means going back to your roots and loving yourself, really, because that's who we are, as black folks. And it's just coming to understand, having love for yourself. Okay.
Black love is just basically, to me, just trust, honesty, companionship, when two people are just in love and understand each other to the max and get to know each other, and there's just no pain. Well, of course there's gonna be pain, but not the pain physical or anything, but just love and trust and communication. It's just like anybody else, but black love will always be harder.
Okay. Why is that? Why do you feel like black love will always be harder?
It's just what the society sees us as, just wrong, and we're just they see us in a whole different view, like not positive anything, and so like we always try to make it work. Black men are going to jail, black women are going to jail, poverty. So it's a struggle for us to try to make it work, no matter what.
Okay. So it's like hard to actually make black relationships work because all of the social issues that affect it. That's real.
Oh, faithfulness. That's all it is, faithfulness. That's all what black love is to me. It's just faithfulness. Because so many young men don't know how to be faithful, especially in the black community. So we could just promote the faithfulness that right there works.
Okay. So based on what you just told me and your experience with black men, can you tell me what is it besides faithfulness that you think you need in order for the relationship to work?
That D, they got it.
I need them to listen. That's the biggest thing for me, is that, sometimes they tend to just kind of tell you what they want and not really being willing to sit back and listen, and thinking that means that they're lesser than to listen to a woman, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means, it's just looking at it from being able to view it from both sides and not being judgmental, saying, okay, just because it's a woman, it's not right. Just they need to listen more and be more supportive of us and know that we want the best for them. Right.
Based on your experiences with black women, as a man, what do you need to make a relationship work?
First off, communication, personality-wise, just being down for that person.
Understanding, pretty much, is a lot of open understanding, being open-minded, and will. Like, it seems like maybe as a people, black women, black men too, kind of get trapped in what we got going on, and kind of, something different, building something different kind of seems far-fetched, and it's like we kind of end up either having to, one of us has to fit into the other person's lives rather than building something new together, because we both kind of trapped in what we already got going. So it's limiting, you know what I'm saying? Also, with a lot of black single women being single mothers, they extra limited. So we gotta kind of just step up and fall in on that, or it's not gonna work out.
Well, I would say not just anyone we need from just a black woman, but any type of woman. I think we need support, affection, understanding, perseverance, a lot of things, man. I'm in my 30s and things change, from relationship to relationship. But I say the most important thing is the ability to be vulnerable and support.
Right.
I need a black man. And by that I mean spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. And I just feel like being a black man in black love is so rare that we even are having this conversation and putting it into a box, because you don't see Asians and Latinos and white people like, oh, white love, Latin love, it's just love. So it's so damn looked down upon to be in love with a black person that we even have to pride ourselves on having black love. It should just be how I feel.
Something natural.
Something natural.
Which it is.
Something natural.
Endurance, patience, communication. The same thing I just said, you know, the same thing that reciprocity. It has to be, you have to have those things. I mean, I know that from black men, we're not gonna get everything right now because we don't even have it all. But we need those respect, you know.
Letting the white man go, you know, like understanding that we're working together and that we're at war, and that on this battlefield it's designed to make one person look like they got more, and so we get all sucked into the bling bling, and we got these people programming, putting this stuff out on TV, and having everybody kind of being brainwashed. So it's really stepping back, you know, taking care of eating your food, eating the right foods, meditating, being able to have your woman really relate to you and understand that, baby, you're going out to battle.
I feel like I talk about this with my friends all the time. It's just like putting that pride to the side, you know, us as, you know, black women and us as black men. It's like that pride, you know, somebody can't put their guard down, and just like, you know, being open to communicating with one another and just, you know, set that pride, say you're sorry, you know, talk about it and communicate. I think that's where the success is going to be for black relationships and black love.
Me personally, trust. Personally, trust. I've had a lot of issues with trust. I've had physical stuff being done, but just mostly trust.
Yeah. The inability for you guys to be able to trust each other.
Right. Just to know that we can love each other without physical, mental, all that bad stuff happening to us.
Right. I mean, consistency most of all. You know, you got into something, you might as well go for it with, like, all the way instead of doing it halfway. Like half-ass is like bullshit. Like, what's the point of being in love or saying you love somebody if all you're gonna do is play games?
Okay.
Or not be, you know, all the way in. Like, come on now.
Okay. So based on what you just told me and your experiences, do you feel like you've received consistency or what you need from black men? If not, like, do you have any other solutions of how to make these relationships work?
Man, really, it's based on the person to make it work. You know, you just got to know who you're dealing with. First of all, ask the necessary questions, and hopefully it'll work out for them. Like, that was my whole thing. Like, I didn't ask the questions, or I just gave in my all without really knowing, and I got hurt. So, you know, yeah.
So being kind of straightforward with
being straightforward, like, you know what you want. Like, we all grown. Like, come on. Like, we all need to just get with the program. Like, love is love. Get with it.
Yes.
In what context and how?
Well, just the fact that my husband has been willing to change. He's changed for me tremendously over, you know, we've been together for 12 years. I have a 8-year-old daughter with him, and he's changed a lot, you know what I mean? And so that, for me, is just his willingness to conform to what us as a family, what we need to do to build and be okay, you know? And
So do you have any suggestions for any young women who are in relationships who may not be getting their needs met as far as
you know, just to continue to talk to them and try to let them know that you're there for them, and not so much in a negative way, but to try to be positive to them and, you know, let them know that, you know, you're there for them, and just to support them through everything. You know, that's how I feel. Men are not going to always give you the response that you want, and you have to understand that doesn't mean that they love you any less. It's just, you know, you just have to be willing to, like, grow and listen, and, you know, as with anybody, you have to just be willing to give and take, you know.
And as far as being in a relationship, do you feel like your needs are being met?
My needs are being met? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. You know, my woman, you know, I ain't gonna say submissive, but, you know, she knows how to treat her man. You feel me? She knows how to play her part, fall back when, you know, how it's supposed to.
Allow you to lead.
Yeah. Allows that. Some women don't do that, but
I think that there's no one person that can truly meet your needs. Your needs have to be met before you can involve yourself in a relationship that way. that way I think that they complement. A partner is meant to complement your needs, and that's why they're called a partner. You know, I found myself in relationships that weren't fulfilling is because I wasn't fulfilling myself.
I mean, I just feel like we could use just a little more support, just by, you know, just the way the community is, just the police brutality. You know, we just need a little more support from our women, you know, and just in general, you know, just a little more patience, just a little more patience, and then, you know, for the males too, you guys, you know, help communicate with the women, and it, you know, I think it'll be a little much better, because we don't get enough communication. It's just all built on the high, you know.
I really feel like I have had a black man before, but I was so young, I didn't know what was going on. I was with him from 15 to 17, and at that age, you don't even know who you are to even know what a real relationship is. And now that I'm 21 and the times have changed, so have the people. So I can't really answer that question as an adult now, because that's 16, 17, 15, you don't even know what a relationship really is. You just know you want to be around that person. So.
Right. So based on your experiences, do you feel like you have any other solutions to give the people who are in relationships, specifically black relationships, how to make it work?
Definitely. My first advice is let your damn guards down. Every man is not the same. Every woman is not the same. If you meet a woman that has hurt you, take your time to reevaluate, see where you went wrong, see where the relationship went wrong, and then move past it. You don't dog out 6 black women, 2 black women, and pass them up because you've been scorned, vice versa. And I feel like that's where black people, in this society where I'm from, I'm not speaking all around the world, where I'm from, I feel like that's where we're going wrong. We're so busy trying to figure out where why things have happened. We're not even trying to get over it and fix it. So if we could fix what we've been through in the past and let our guards down and be vulnerable, like I mentioned in the previous question, then we can move on and have black love. Love, period.
Thank you, Janae.
You're welcome.
See, you heard it right here. It takes commitment from both sides and understanding who you are as a person before you can even begin to think about what love means, and even in the context of black love in itself. So thank you, Queen Janae. I really appreciate it.
What's up, y'all? It's Big Brandon from Man Up TV. So we've given you guys a little bit of background about black love and relationships. We took it to the street to see what some of y'all thought about it. And now we have a great panel here to discuss some of these issues. To my left, we have Jazz, Amir, and Ranisha. And we just have a few questions, and we're going to chop it up about this thing we call black love. So starting with all the way to my left, Ranisha, what do you think about the state of black love today?
When I think about the state of black love today, I don't want to say that it's completely non-existent, because I know it does exist, but I want to focus on the fact that I feel like it's very rare. When I think about all different levels of the environment, my own individual perspective is rare, you know, amongst my community, my life, and my friends. It's also rare in what we see in society, especially when you look at the media and how they display black love. It's often displayed in more of a negative point of view, and then, you know, those different perspectives affect the way that we view ourselves and its importance in society today. So.
Brother Amir, your thoughts?
You know what? I was just watching Good Times, and that just brought me back to a nostalgia about black love and the whole idea of leadership in the household. And I think it's in a state of emergency, honestly. I think that, you know, people need to kind of come together, and it's been something that's been broken off, and that slowly but surely people are trying to repair it. So I think it's in a state of emergency right now.
Okay. And Ms. Jazz?
I would agree. I feel like black love is somewhat in a state of emergency. I would say on a immediate perspective, like on a global point of view, you can see that what's happening in like the media around black relationships and black love is really negative. It's shining a negative light. But for me in my community, I'm actually seeing it thriving more than ever. I'm seeing a lot of more young black people become married, especially in the academia world, young educated black people. So it's kind of like a both for me.
Okay, okay. So the main gist that I get is that although things may be improving somewhat, Black love is in a little bit of trouble. So next question I want to pose to you, and I'll start with you, Brother Amir, is what do you think is the single most divisive factor that keeps black men and black women apart?
I think it goes back in slavery days, honestly. I mean, you talk about the role of the slave master and how he ripped the black family apart, and we haven't really recovered from that time until now. And then you had, the Great Depression. You had a whole other set of circumstances that kind of ripped families apart. You had prohibition and alcohol and all that stuff, and now it's constant over decades. You always have these instances where something from our government does something to kind of drive a wedge in relationships. You had in the 80s, you had the crack epidemic, and once again, it kind of split it apart. And then you had the whole influx of Planned Parenthood, which, people have different opinions about it, but it also wedged that divide into, they kind of dressed it as one thing, but it's really like, population control. And so I think over time, it's constantly been something to kind of drive a wedge. And now it's just like with black men, black on black, it's like there's mistrust. And I think that's one of the main issues. There's a lot of mistrust between men and women.
Okay. And Jazz, what do you think divides black men and women today?
I definitely agree with all those factors that Brother Amir spoke on, from everything from the crack epidemic to just the government's involvement in the black family. For me, the biggest issue I see is communication. Like, communication amongst black men and women is off. It's off. There's something that I teach with my high school students called the 7 R's, and the 7 R's are things that I believe need to be in place for any relationship to thrive, but for me specifically, black men and black women. And one of the things is that we lack a sense of reconciliation. There is no restoration of harmony within the black family unit, within the relationship between black men and black women. And then there's elders. I'm seeing that our elders are missing. So there's no model for us to look after, And so the communication within that is bad. I feel like we can't hear each other. I kind of think about like Avatar, like we don't see each other. We right there, but we don't see each other.
All right.
I think that goes back a couple of generations as far as the wisdom from the elders, because if you look back a generation, that generation wasn't really married. So you have to go back like 2 or 3 generations, to like maybe the 50s or or beyond that, and then you start seeing these relationships that last, 20, 30, 40 years. And then as you get to the 60s and 70s, that kind of tapers off dramatically. Now, you're pretty much happy if someone's married 5 years. So there's a big disconnect between the wisdom from the elders and just what's going on. I think I think it's not even just black people, but I think in general, this is an underappreciation of the sanctity of marriage. It's like they make it difficult with U.S. law to make marriage, something that you want to go for and strive for. If you're married, you got more tax penalties on taxes, and just people kind of got turned off by it. Now you hear, I can do bad by my damn self, or you see people going to same-sex relationships, which I'm not saying that's a factor, but it's like it's a whole bunch of different things that's kind of coming on about with that. So.
Also, too, it's like there's no need anymore. Like the Constitution of marriage was like, this is for me to bring this dynasty of folks and this dynasty of folks together to thrive. Then when you coming up out of slavery, it's like we need to procreate. We need to have somebody to protect our women. And when you talk about like the government and folks stepping in, or this stigma or this role of like, I'm independent, I don't need no man, I call the police, I kick you, where's the need for marriage, or where's the need for black women and black men having relationships? Like where's the need for that in society? So I don't see the need, for a lot of people.
Right.
Okay. And Ranisha, your thoughts?
So the thing that I think most that hurts black relationships, honestly, is self-hate. Because I think even before we have always been resilient people. And even with all the societal constructs that, reinforce oppression amongst African-American culture, I just think it really honestly starts with the way that you look at yourself and the way you view yourself. We are a product of our society, and those different things influence our value system. But if it's not in your value system to be able to appreciate yourself or what it means to actually be a black person, it's kind of hard for you to be able to represent that in a relationship. So to me, it's really honestly self-worth, and I think that starts first before you can even kind of talk about the components of a relationship.
That's something that kind of, as a society, as a black community, we kind of just let happen. It's like no one's really calling out these, artists that are saying bitches and hoes and so forth. It's kind of like we let, in my thinking, we're the only race of people that kind of publicly does that. I can't think of any other race of people that would like publicly disrespect the women. I can't think of, I'm really sat and thought about it. It's like, I can't think of Latinos or Asians going out and saying the B or whatever. It's like we allowed ourselves to degrade our women. We even degrade ourselves, and now it's just pop culture is norm. And now other coaches are picking up and thinking it's cool. Like, no, that shit ain't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, we also too, like what Radisha was saying, when you talk about like self-love as a people, you look at any other like race of folks or background of people. If I say right now, what does it mean to be an African American? You're gonna get all these different opinions, all these different customs, traditions across the board. I say, well, what does it mean to be a Mexican American? What does it mean to be a Chinese American? What does it mean to be a Chinese person? They have some concrete set traditions, sets of values, and things that have pieces of culture that they've been able to keep. And it's not to say that we don't have traditions or cultures or customs, but it's everywhere, you know. And so it's like how, like you said, if it's the conquer and divide, how do you call unity to people who are scattered, you know?
Right.
And I think with that being said, to piggyback off of that, we do too much finger pointing in that sense too, because there's a little bit of division based on where you feel like you identify in the whole history of what it means to be African American. We do a lot of finger pointing, and I see that within Black relationships too, about whose responsibility it is to kind of carry the torch or to lead, when really all of that kind of encompasses, it's both of our responsibility to make sure that we carry out what our duty is to be African American people in society today.
So to go back to somewhat what some of you guys are saying about how the messages in the media definitely tend to bring us away from a standard definition or a wholesome definition of what it means to be in a relationship or to experience Black love. What do you guys think is the breaking point for that paradigm? Since Black people, our style has always been imitated. We've always been, you know, very prominent in music and art and entertainment aspects of society. What do you think is the way to move forward from that angle? How do we lessen, or how do we change the impact or focus of the entertainment that is filling our minds?
I think that we need to do what the show says and man up as Black men. One thing that I think is that we need to apologize. And I know, talking amongst my friends, I got a lot of flack from that. It's like, why apologize? We need to apologize for leaving Black women without anyone to protect them. And I feel like that's part of the healing process, because it's something broken that needs to be healed. And the only way that you're going to heal is being able to apologize and saying, I wasn't there. I wasn't there 100 years ago. I wasn't there now, but I'm going to do right. And once you get on that common ground and just apologize, then I think progress can be made forward.
Okay, and that seems like that stance is very much counter to the egocentric, you know, especially in like rap these days. You know, we definitely, rap is built on ego, braggadocious. You know, you gotta put yourself out there. So it sounds like what you're saying is a difficult thing, but at the same time, it's something that, you know, we could definitely embrace.
We need to celebrate our marriages and relationships, and I think a lot of the hip hop artists, hip hop was kind of based around this whole, bachelor lifestyle. You had people like Cool J who kind of put that out there, but he's been married for like 20, 25 years. And so when you see the artists who a lot of kids look up to celebrate marriage and say it's cool to have just one woman or just to be in a committed relationship, a monogamous relationship, then you'll start seeing people imitate it. And now in the last like 5 years, you start to see a lot of celebrities kind of come out. You see Jay and Beyonce, you see all these different other, Kerry Washington and her husband, and you're starting to see it starting to become more popular. It's cool to be married.
But also with the popularity of marriage and like popular media and that popular culture, one of the things that I hear that's most common, so I'm 25, one of the things I hear that's most common amongst my generation is, I can't think about being married right now, I got to get my goals in order, like how I'm going to raise a child, I can't provide for myself. And I think that all these things are real, like for a man, a Black man or a Black woman to acknowledge that I need to get myself right before I can get up with you, sometimes to me creates this sense that it's impossible to have like young relationships or to manage a relationship and accomplish your dreams and your goals. And so when you see it in popular media, then there's all these other things that comes like, oh, well, if I'm gonna get married, I gotta have me a chick like Beyonce. Like she's gotta be able to have, her own capital, her own empire, then we gonna build this empire together. And I don't think that there's anything negative about that, but also too, like you have to be able to see both. Like you have to see both images, and to start to shift that paradigm in media. I think too, it's like starts with us voting like with our dollar, like exposing more things like Man Up TV or any other type of images. I watch the Cosby's all the time. Cosby's outdated. I think that the Cosby should come back, because to me that was a really good example of a black family. No matter if they were like upper middle class, they dealt with all types of issues, you know,
right,
and ways to address them.
And I would say another way to fix it too, to me, honestly, is really education, because I think we understand that people feel the societal, you know, the ways that society oppresses us. They feel it on a regular basis. Like for me, I'm a program coordinator for a youth center, so I see firsthand how misinformed a lot of these youth are, and how they are misinformed because their family are misinformed. So I think it's important to understand our own privilege, you know, like me being a college graduate and us understanding, you know, our own personal backgrounds and how we're exposed to our history. But, you know, for the past year that I've been working at the youth center, I've been giving them information about, you know, black history and how it affects us. And you'll be surprised how they start to change their individual behavior and really understand their place in society. And they're not getting that at all. So I think it's important that we understand that, you know, and start with our own individual lives, and then learn to kind of give that information to the people around us. And that sparks change as well, too.
Yeah, I think it seems clear that broken families lead to broken expectations of what it means to be in a relationship, to sustain a relationship, or just to, you know, get along with members of the opposite sex in the black community. To wrap this up, I want to kick it to you, Ranisha. What do you think is something that black women can do in order to remediate or improve the situation between black men and women, whether it be as a relationship, a romantic relationship, or a platonic relationship, family, just in general? Give us your opinions on that.
I think they need to understand what it means to be a black woman first, like what it means to be a woman and what that means in context of a relationship in a black man. Because I think we don't even have a clear understanding of what it means to be a black woman in society. And I think in order for, you know, relationships to work, we have to better our relationship amongst African American women too. Because when we talk about the family unit, we talked about the black man and woman, but really it's about the village. You know what I mean? I think the fact that we have so much ill blood amongst black women spills out into, you know, our respect for ourselves and how we respect black men in return too. So I think that's important.
Okay. Jess, your thoughts?
I totally agree with that. Just really starting with self, and starting to heal some of that internal thing. For women, like, you know, we have layers, and there are many, many layers to be dealt with when you talk about pain and trauma. Queen Afua has this book, and she talks about like how we're housed in our mother's womb, and our mother was housed in her womb. So whatever trauma she dealt with, it's being passed on. And so to really like start to address our internal issues and deal with that, and to be honest, like to start to see our brothers not as our enemies, but literally as helpmeets. And to have so many women that have been abused by the hand of men, black men, any type of man, sometimes it's hard for them to see the help in that and to actually seek out the positive in the situation and find folks that's around me. I think the hardest thing for me to see is black women raising black men, but having a negative connotation, a negative point of view on men. You know, you're raising one, and that transfers over. So for me to start to work with my internal self and to actually seek out the positive and the good within our men.
Okay. Or for them to say how a lot of black women will talk about, you know, I'm the mother and the father. I think that's very harmful to black relationships as well too. You know what I mean? Because you can teach them how to be a better person, but you can't teach them how to be a black man. We don't know what it's like to be a black man.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Brother Amir, what do you think that black men could do to improve the situation between black men and women?
I think self-love. It has to go back to self-love, because, you know, as growing up, you know, it's just kind of like male culture. I lost my virginity at 12. And the thing was, my homies did it. And when I didn't do it, I was the outcast. And if I had to go back to that time, I would just be like, you know, appreciate and love yourself, because people equal sex and love, and it's not the same. It's like, you know, you're going to fill that void, and men and women both do it. Black men and women do it. They go have these relationships because they're trying to fill the void, and then, you know, you have sex, you have that intimate moment, and then you go back feeling empty. And it's like you have to take that and replace it with something else, either through spirituality or just appreciating that you are divine, that you have a temple, and that you need to value yourself, because if you give it out to everyone, it's just like it takes away from that energy that comes from your body. You lose it. And so I think just going back to, it's cool to be a bird. It's cool to be with one person. You don't have to go out to everyone, and just appreciate that you are put here for a reason. I think that's a hard concept because you're going against what society says. Society tells you have as many women as you can, kind of keep as a tally sheet, and build it up as much as you can. That was the mindset growing up that I had. It's like, I'm gonna rack up as many as I can, and if I can go back, I would just be, when I look back to it as an adult, it's like I didn't love myself. I didn't appreciate things that God made me that was unique to me. I was just going out looking for love. So I had all these different relationships looking for something that I needed all along, which is like love. I didn't have, parents and so forth. So going back, just, having that support system, having this in popular saying is cool, just to be a bird is cool. Like it's, and just, going back to loving yourself, I think that's key.
Agreed. Yeah, I think definitely we are hypersexualized in American culture. Add that to all the people that look like us in entertainment are the front runners of entertainment. Like you said, in the past, 5 years or so, it's gotten more popular to put, star couples out there, like a Jay and Bay. But at the same time, we're still not really promoting social responsibility. We're not promoting communication. We're not promoting honesty, loyalty, any of those things at the same time. So, yeah, I definitely agree with all of your sentiments on that. So that is the end of this panel discussion. I want to thank Jazz and Ronisha for providing the female input that we so desperately require as strong black men. If we want to man up, we definitely need to know what's going on with our women at all times. This is Big Brandon for Man Up TV. 1.